Former White House counsel John Dean, a key figure in the Watergate scandal, testifies before the House Judiciary Committee regarding the Mueller report. And One America's John Hines caught up with several GOP lawmakers to get their reaction on his testimony.
And the Republicans are very frustrated by what's going on in our committee. The House Judiciary Committee has one of the broadest and most important jurisdictions of any committee in the Congress. We have critical issues that we should be working on, but we're mired in these political shows. We didn't learn anything new today. This was purely for the cameras, and the Democrats, Nadler and company, are itching to impeach the president. They don't have the go-ahead by Nancy Pelosi, and so they're going to continue, I suppose, to drag this out as long as they can to give the appearance that they're doing something when really nothing's come of this at all. I wish I could tell you the rationale for having Mr. Dean. He presented himself as though he was giving quote-unquote historical context, but as you saw, many of the members pointed out, he was not a credible witness. He does not have a record of honesty and integrity, and clearly has been out as an attack dog on the president from day one. So there wasn't much stock to be put into what he said. And
well, I think it's really interesting that the Judiciary Committee gave a platform for TV commentators to come and give their opinion on the Mueller report. And it's really sad that we had to go back to the 70s to try and at least give some impression of an impeachment variety hearing again and bringing Mr. Dean in. You know, someone who's guilty of obstruction, as I said in the hearing, you know, here's the godfather of using government assets to spy on other campaigns. So maybe it's appropriate in that way, but what we saw today was another attempt by this chairman to continue a path down a dead-end road that has already been solved, and they just don't have the goods, so they're trying to put it out there enough. They spin it enough, they think somebody will buy it.
Mr. Nadler said that he reached an agreement of some kind with the Department of Justice. Does this change the aspect of potentially, I think it was, the idea was contempt that the House was going to vote on? What happens now?
I'm glad to see that the chairman looks at a new deal. Really nothing that was gained here was some just 302 information that that already had been provided to HPSC before. And if my chairman had actually followed protocol and actually went through normal congressional oversight, we'd have probably had these documents weeks ago.
Now, of course, you did both agree on the idea of inviting Mr. Mueller. Is there any prospect of that occurring? I mean, I know he said he was opposed to coming before the committee. Your thoughts?
Well, I think this chairman has subpoenaed everything else in the world. He's asked for everything else in the world. I'm not sure what the hesitancy was about Mueller. They're infatuated with the report. In fact, they even did a great dramatic reading of parts of the report today. Maybe they'll actually look for the author at some point.
Thank you, sir.
Well, the conclusion here is this: like, the president was falsely accused of something. And everyone knew, he knew there was no kind of coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia to impact the election. He's falsely accused of something. We have a 2-year investigation, and Bob Mueller and the Attorney General of the United States say they're not going to indict, not going to move forward. So the question is, do you keep looking at something Bob Mueller said he wasn't going to indict, or do maybe you go back and look at how the whole false accusation happened in the first place, how this whole thing started? Now, the good news is Bill Barr's going to look at that. But frankly, the House Judiciary Committee should be looking at it too. The idea that you can do what took place at the FISA court with a dossier paid for by the other party's campaign, by a guy who said he was biased to stop Trump, desperate to stop Trump, Christopher Steele. That's what we should be looking at, but instead we're going to have hearings where we bring in John Dean to talk about obstruction of justice.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.